Okay. I'm getting another error message here. Orientation is locked. Rotate device back. Just stop doing that, you weirdo. So I keep getting error messages on my tablet here whenever I do a live lately, the last few months. And someone mentioned, oh, you need to update the thing, the app. And I checked, it auto updates. So this is updated. It's still giving me these dumb errors. Anyway, let's just carry on. Hopefully everything looks right from your end. If everything does not look right from your end, send me a comment and say, Jaimie, something's wrong. You got to fix it. But otherwise, I'm just going to carry on with business. So the other day, my son, who's 6, had a bunch of Lego outside. And I see him playing with his Lego, and I'm like, dude, don't take the Lego any further than right in this spot here. And you have to make sure it goes back to the Lego zone. Because there's a Lego zone on the second floor. It's right up over there. There's a big Lego zone. There's Legos all over the place. That is the Lego zone. You take Lego out of the Lego zone, you got to make sure it goes back. He's like, oh, yeah. No problem. So many hours later, I go outside, and there's Lego all over the front porch thing, just outside in front of the house on the concrete thing. And I go to my son, I'm like, hey, you said you were going to put all this Lego away. And he's like, oh, no, he used her name, but you don't know who she is. But he's like, my 4-year-old sister is going to take care of it because she was playing with it too. She said she'd put it away. So it's her problem now. And I'm like, no. You can't just outsource that responsibility to a 4-year-old and expect her to do what you have to do. This is your responsibility, and you have to either do it yourself or make sure someone else does it. So if you're accepting that your 4-year-old sister is going to do it, you have to be there with her and make sure it all gets done and help her and make sure she doesn't miss any pieces, make sure she does it. Either way, the responsibility is yours. You can't just put it off on someone else and forget about it, right? Very important lesson in life. So anyway, let's back up like 400,000 years to when I was at university. And I didn't have the most amazing university experience. Like, it was all right. I kind of made it work by just kind of using the engineering labs and the art studios and, basically using all the tools and equipment at the school while spending as little time as possible on the academics, which seemed to be a complete waste of time to me. So I would work on all these projects of my own, and basically I was just kind of using the university's space and tools and whatever. And every couple months or whatever, there would be an exam or some midterms or finals, something where I had to show up, and I would just barf out whatever nonsense the university professors needed me to throw up onto these papers so that they would give me good grades on the exam so I could pass the class. And so otherwise I just didn't deal with the academic side of things. I didn't really, until I'm pretty sure this was my last year at university. This professor, it was in some drawing class, just an art drawing class, like one of those classes where I was like, I just got to fill in a few more credits to graduate. Let's just pick some stuff. So I'm in this drawing class, which I don't really care about, but I'm like, yeah, I'm going to show up and draw some naked people. That's what it mostly was, drawing naked people. I was like, whatever. So at one point, the professor in this class, he asked me a question. And I don't remember what the question was, but it was some question worth asking and worth answering. And as usual, I just started barfing out the standard kind of answer bullcrap that I would give to any professor, and then they would say, oh, very good, you passed the class, kind of thing, And so I'm blah, blah, blah. And this professor looks at me and he's like, what are you doing right now? And I'm like, I'm answering your question with a bunch of BS. He's like, why are you doing that? Because all the professors just want to hear BS. And he's like, dude, no, answer it for real. I want to know what you think. I want to know, like, just answer the question for real. And I'm like, wait. You want me to actually answer the question, not just give you some load of garbage that like puffs up your ego and whatever? He's like, no. I want the real answer. Like, what do you really think? And from that point on, I got along with this particular professor really, really well. He's still alive, I think. I mean, I talked to him like a week ago. Anyway, his name was Richard Fishman. He's an artist. He was like he's an art professor. And I got along with this guy great from then on. He was like the highlight of my university experience, which I otherwise did not really participate in. So after I graduated, I ended up working for him for a while, and we did some projects together, and I worked for him at the school doing stuff in the art department or whatever. And he also let me use, all the stuff to work on my own projects, because he was also interested in what I was doing. He's like, you use the stuff, man, go for it. So I was there doing all this blacksmithing, because there was all this blacksmithing stuff in the sculpture studio at the time, which was amazing fun. Oh my gosh, like taking a piece of like rusty old steel that came out of a truck, like a leaf spring, and pounding it with a hammer and sticking it in fire and pounding with a hammer and then coming out with like some beautiful sword. Oh my gosh, this is fun. So, the first few things I made were not that, I mean, they were okay, but I was learning. And then I got to a point where I was like, all right, I want to make a really nice sword, because this is something I wanted to do ever since I was a little kid. Blacksmithing your own sword. Awesomeness, right? So, I actually have, first I finished this sword, and it was amazing, and it was so good that when I first moved off grid, I found that I could cut trees down faster with the sword than I could with an axe. So I started using it like an axe, which was not really what you should do with a sword. But basically, I was going to abuse this sword until it broke so I could find out how good it was. And it took a ton of abuse. But eventually, one winter, I was hacking down a frozen tree, and boing, it just cracked and a piece flew off. I still have the two pieces here. Let me just grab them. Hold on a second. Where is it? Here we go. Where's the other end? Okay, here it is. Okay. No, I'm coming back. Okay, so this is the piece of the sword that broke off, and it broke off like right about here. So this blade goes down to here, and then and I made a new handle so I could still use it for stuff, right? And then this is all the original stuff, including the scabbard, which used to be like way longer, but anyway. So that's where it snapped off, and I just kind of ground it nice, and it's still like really sharp. So I use this for like carving wood and stuff, and it keeps an edge really nicely. Anyway, the original sword was like that, right? So the blade goes all the way down to the bottom end of the handle there. So, it was a pretty long piece of metal. And when you're forging something like that, to heat treat it, I'm sure there are multiple ways to do this, but the way I was doing it was, first I would pound the metal into the right shape, do whatever shaping I need, and grinding and whatever, sanding, blah, blah, blah. And once I got it into like just the perfect shape, like, oh, look at that. It's kind of getting rusty now, but whatever. Anyway, although the black on it is still really nice. I don't know how well you can see on there, but like this black is from when I quenched it in the oil. Like that's not paint or anything. It's just like, anyway. So once the piece of metal is the right shape, then I put it in a kiln, and it was really nice because I had a big kiln in the sculpture studio because they wanted to have a huge kiln. So I ended up making a huge kiln for the art studio. Got paid for it too. Oh my gosh. So this kiln was big enough to put this huge sword in there. Let me just go put this away. Hold on. Okay, so I put the kiln in there, and usually, like the older style way of doing this is to heat up the metal till it looks the right color. However, I've got this kiln and I can dial the temperature in like to the degree. So I know exactly, like I look in a book, I'm like, here's the exact temperature I should get this thing up to, and put it in the kiln, got it up to that temperature. And then I have to take the piece of metal out, with some long tongs and like some protective equipment because the thing is freaking like glowing orange red hot. Then I have to pull it out with some tongs and then submerge it in oil, quenching oil, which cools the metal down fairly quickly to harden it. Not super quick, because if you quench something like that in water, there's a good chance it's going to break. It's just going to shatter. But the quenching oil cools it down a little slower, so it doesn't quite break. And then you have to reheat it a little bit more and then quench it again, and then it loosens up the molecules a little bit to temper it so it's not so brittle. Anyway, to do this, I need a vat of oil. I can't, the oil was in like some drum, but the drum was not deep enough that I could put the thing in. Plus, I want to lay it in whoosh, to get it to just all go in right at once. So I got some sheet metal, bent up this little trough that was like, long enough to fit the blade in. So I made this trough, poured oil in it. So it's like that deep, definitely enough to be able to get the blade in there without the blade touching the edges or anything. Okay, got it all set up. So I stuck the blade in the kiln, pulled it out very carefully, stuck it in the oil. It's like all smoking and stuff, and pull it out and then reheat it again, put it in again. Blade came out amazing and had this nice glossy black surface on it that came from the quenching in the oil. And then after that, I was like, oh crap, I got to go do some stuff. And I was there with my friend Tom, and he's like, yeah, I'll put the oil away for you. Don't worry. Just go do your thing. And I'm like, really, man? Oh, thanks. That's great. So I leave. The next day, I come back to the sculpture studio. Richard Fishman is like, Jaimie. And I'm like, I can tell he's kind of annoyed. And he's like, look, if you're going to do something in the sculpture studio, you need to make sure you clean it up. And I'm like, oh crap, what did I do? And I look and I see this trough of oil still sitting there. And I'm like, oh crap. Tom said he would put it away. And he's like, so I came down here and I saw Tom about to try to pick up the end of this trough made out of sheet metal, and I'm just like, oh no, if he picks up one end, it's going to bend in the middle, the oil's going to go all over the floor. And Richard is like, yes, exactly, which is why you needed to do it yourself. Luckily, I was there to stop him before this went all over the place, and I'm just like, oh crap. So I'm like, I'm so sorry, I will totally not let that happen again. And I cleaned up the oil and everything. And then I learned this good lesson after getting chewed out. It wasn't a horrible chewing out, but it was significant, like getting chewed out, significant enough getting chewed out that I was like, I better remember this. And the lesson I learned was that I cannot leave my responsibility to someone else. The exact same lesson I just taught my son. And I'm probably have to teach him like 2 or 3 dozen times before he kind of gets it. But the point here is that the longer I'm a parent, the longer I'm a father, the more things I realize I didn't learn that I should have learned from my parents. Because every time I teach my kids something or give them a good influence and stuff, I'm always kind of like, wow, man, I didn't learn that till I was like 25 or 30 or something. Like I had to go out into the real world, screw up a bunch of stuff, and then I learned how I should be doing stuff again. And just thinking about the difference in lifestyles between my experience where I didn't really learn much from my parents, and my parents were fine. They were just doing the normal thing that it was just a normal thing. Get divorced, not really raise your kids. That was just kind of the thing you did in the 70s. Just go out and play and hurt yourself on your bike, which was fine. But they didn't really get engaged in my life and teach me a lot of stuff that I could have learned. But now I see my kids learning all this stuff like decades before I learned it. And it becomes clear to me how important it is to have parents in a society. Because if we look at our world today, how many problems are the result of or just not being fixed because people are not taking the responsibility themselves? Like, how often do you hear people say, oh, someone else will take care of it? Or how often do you think, well, I could take this responsibility, but someone else will take care of it. And just over and over and over, we've got this civilization chock full of people saying, someone else will do it. I don't have to worry about someone else will take care of this. Someone else will take care of that. And no one's taking care of so many things because so many people are just putting it off to other people. So, yeah, being a parent is like a super duper important thing. It's often, what's the word? Underestimated how important parents are. Parents are super duper important to a civilization. Anyway, what else have I got going on here? Oh, it's been raining a lot lately, which I think someone mentioned last week. So I've been trying to do this digging, which I've been doing for years. For an hour or two every day, I do this digging, whenever it's not too muddy. And I managed to do some this morning, and I just got to the point where I'm getting near the end of this digging, and I'll have something to show for it, So I got to the part where I'm just about to start building this retaining wall that's going to be part of this thing, and it started raining. Another thing, I went to a pizza party today. A pile of kids. I mean, a lot of the kids were my kids, but some other kids too, because my kids do have friends, believe it or not. But a question I often get asked is, was building the shark slicer worth it? The shark slicer being my cargo boat, which is out here, currently known as the tiger shark slicer, or just the tiger shark. Anyway, it's this cargo boat that I built. It's 30 feet long, 10 feet wide, got a bunch of solar panels on the roof, electric motor, and all this. This is a really nice boat. I mean, it's a little beat up looking, but super useful. Anyway, I often get asked, is that thing even useful? Was it worth the effort of doing it, the time and everything? That boat is probably the most useful thing I've ever built, maybe second to houses. Because a house is super useful. I'm gonna die if I don't have a house of exposure, right? But if we take houses, if we put houses aside, after houses, that boat is probably the most useful thing I've ever made. I've transported so many things with it, for myself, for other people. I have neighbors around here. Every now and then they're like, hey, I gotta move this big thing. And I'm like, yeah, I'll come. Just how far are we going? What is it? Whatever. And it's great for going fishing. Hold on, I just saw a mosquito. It's great for going fishing. I can take a pile of kids in it to the pizza place. Super useful. So that's the answer to that question. The shark slicer, super useful boat. Anyway, let's see what you guys are doing. Whoa, not too many comments so far. Wait, let me just click the button. Okay. My screen on my tablet here is still kind of messed up. So excuse me for squinting and trying to look really hard at the comments, because everything's kind of in layers now. Whatever. JT Goes Pro says, hi Jaimie, hello. Yelmo? Okay, hello. Mr. Landfill, what's going on, man? Hey, Mr. Landfill, whereabouts in the world are you? Michigan, USA. I grew up near Michigan, actually. Jonathan Brett says, ooh, it must be dark there at the moment. I am here in Brisbane, Australia. Been following Jaimie for a decade or so. I don't think it's actually dark in Michigan yet. It shouldn't be dark in Michigan yet. It's afternoon, evening-ish though. Normally still light out, but today was cloudy. Very good, very good. Jaimie, if you can raise animals with care and consistency, then you... Wait, if you can't raise animals with care and consistency, then you can't raise children. I don't know that that's a true statement. I don't know. Maybe that's a true statement. No, I guess I don't know. Why are you telling me that? What does that mean? If you can't raise animals with care and consistency, then you can't raise children. Okay. Sure. I guess. I don't know. Why are you telling me that? Oh, I don't know why you're talking about that. Okay, Mr. Landfill says, what? Tony Simmons says, just signed in. I'm from Springfield, Massachusetts. I drove through Springfield, Massachusetts many times when I used to live up in New England. It's 5:14 p.m. and pitch black already. Daylight savings, UGG, UGG. Is it UGG or is UGG an acronym for something? Wow, it's pitch black already? I guess it is getting toward winter. Yeah, I guess the days are getting pretty short. Advanced Nutrition Inc. Ooh, I would love some advanced nutrition. Says, I have been following for a long time. I haven't made comments on live. Georgia, USA. Well, I hope things are going well in Georgia. Oh, it's UGG like this sucks. Oh, UGG. Yeah, usually when I write UGG, I write UGH, which I guess is maybe UGG. Anyway, whatever. Vasco Zuzu, what's going on, man? I hope you're doing good. Nature Validates said catenaries are cool. Catenaries being, if I remember correctly, the shape you get when you, let me see if I can find something. When you, hold on. I've got something here. Hold on, I have something here. Where is it? Oh my God. Yes. All right. If I remember correctly, a catenary, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is the shape you get when you hang something like this, except this rope is kind of stiff. If this was a chain or like a heavier rope with no stiffness, it would make this almost parabolic shape, very close to a parabolic shape that is not quite a parabolic shape, but is a catenary. But it's a parabola and a catenary in most practical uses could be interchangeable. Is that the catenary you're talking about? Catenaries are cool. I love them, man. Almost dark here. Let's see. Advanced Nutrition. He's in Georgia. Almost dark here. 5:16 p.m. Almost dark here. Here it's pretty much. It's not exactly the same day length all year, but I'm pretty close to the equator, so it changes by like an hour, like the length of a day, or maybe 2 hours. Like maybe it gets dark at 6 in the dead of winter, and like 7 or maybe 6:30 and 7:30. Yeah, it doesn't change that much here. But I do remember when I lived in Canada, in the dead of winter, like end of December, 4 p.m. the sun is down. Tony says, sorry, voice texting. Yeah, voice texting is pretty funny to me. Nature Validates says, yes, we're going to get a catenary demonstration. You did get it. Oh, I did not do a very good catenary demonstration, though. Oh, I know I have some chain around in the house, but it's in a bucket, and there's about 200 pounds of it all in one piece. So I don't think I'm going to pull that out. Oh, man. But yeah, that, you know what a catenary is. That kind of catenary, right? The one I was talking about. Correct and thanks, says Nature Validates. Oh, you're very welcome. I want to find something I'll make a better catenary. Oh, I'm at the end of comments already. You guys aren't that talkative today. That's all right, though. I have a little bit more I can talk about. So Right now, I'm in a situation where, wait, do you or any of your kids play instruments on the island? Yeah. Hold on. Let me get one. Oh, I'm not gonna play some huge thing or anything, but where is it? Right. Well, we have these. My mom was a music teacher, so she got my kids a bunch of these things. And I'm not sure which one this is, but let me see. Great. Some of these have different notes. Yeah, very exciting. So my kids play these sometimes. And sometimes we have to stop the little kids because when you blow really hard on these, they make a horrible shrill noise. They also sing a lot. They know a lot of songs. One of my daughters started reading by herself when she was like 3. And when she was 4, she was reading novels. It was ridiculous. And then my other older daughter, not that into reading, but she can hear a song like once or twice and sing the entire thing. And I'm like, how the hell do you even remember that? It's kind of crazy though. But they also play some, I don't know, they have some other instruments at their mom's house. I don't remember what they are. But they definitely sing a lot. And they play drums. My son got a paint can out the other day, an empty one. And I had some paint cans from when I painted the second floor. And they're still up there, just sitting on the second floor. And so he takes one of the paint can lids, puts it on, starts smacking it on, and gets the lid back on. And then he comes to me with this string and the paint can, and he's like, "Can you tie this to me?" So I could turn him into a drummer boy. So he attached a paint can to himself, and then had 2 pieces of like long pieces of Lego. He's like playing drums, which we eventually had to stop him from doing because it was too annoying after a while. Greetings from Norway, Frode. Oh man, my screen is still screwed up. I can't read things that well. Frode Haugier, something like that. Greetings from Norway. I've watched some of your vids before, but then YouTube buried them and I forgot. Now I'm binging them. Love your work, especially the boats. I had a friend that had your energy. Yeah, well, YouTube definitely promotes certain types of videos. I did notice, I don't remember exactly when it was, but at some point, YouTube changed their stuff and my videos really stopped getting shown in a lot of places. And I noticed the difference because, for a while, I would get a lot of new people saying, "Hey, I just, found your video in my feed and watched it and cool, whatever." And then suddenly there were none of those comments. So it's probably because I'm not the right political orientation, or I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I just encourage people to do things for themselves instead of buying everything, and that's not good for marketing. But anyway, this is totally fine. Oh man, your friend who had my energy is not with us anymore. He also built catamarans. They're so efficient, man. I've been thinking more and more about getting either building or getting a catamaran like houseboat. Partly for, maybe for little trips around, partly to have fun. I mean, my kids love boats. And then, I also kind of want to have something that I could load up in the event of some kind of emergency if I had to, like a bug out vehicle, basically. Yeah, basically a bug out vehicle. Like I would like to have a catamaran sufficiently seaworthy that I could leave here and go anywhere in the world in the event I had to, with my kids and be reasonably safe. So, I mean, that's always been part of the plan. That's something I've always wanted to have here. And yeah, I've been doing a little bit more looking for something like that. And this week, someone was telling me about this 62-foot catamaran that's like, it's fiberglass, it's in good shape. It was used as a party boat though, so it's not got like all the homey stuff. It's mostly just wide open decks. And I'm like, totally cool, man. Wide open decks. Like I will build my own stuff. That's perfect for me. And it's not that expensive, and it's good in shape, and everything works. And it's in like Washington State in the United States, which is on the wrong coast. It's in the wrong ocean, basically. So if I were to go get this thing, I'd either have to sail it south for quite a while and then go through the Panama Canal and then back up here, or I'd have to sail it across the Atlantic Ocean. No, wait, across the Pacific Ocean and then across the Atlantic Ocean to here. It's debatable which would be less of a pain. Obviously the one through the Panama Canal is shorter, but there's more bureaucratic logistics to deal with. And I often find myself choosing more work for myself rather than dealing with governments and organizations and big things. Yeah, I just imagine going through the Panama Canal is probably a huge pain in the butt. It would almost be easier to just go around the entire planet the other direction. Anyway, but that's probably not going to happen. But I have been keeping my eyes out for some kind of catamaran, because I obviously could build like a big catamaran houseboat, but I don't really want to do that much fiberglass again. Fiberglass is kind of miserable to work with. And I've definitely learned enough that I could do a good job, like make exactly what I want and make it strong and make it handle like, any ocean, maybe not the biggest storms or anything, but like it could go all over the planet. But yeah, just dealing with the fiberglass, it's horrible stuff to work with. So I kind of like to buy something. So if anyone knows of a catamaran, either sailing or a motor catamaran, but if it's a motor catamaran, I'm going to want to switch it to electric and put solar panels on it. And that one was 62 feet, but it doesn't have to be 62 feet. That would have been amazing though. Anyway, let's move on here. What were we doing? Do we play instruments or catamaran? Okay. Nature Validates says, curious to hear your thoughts on fiat currency and if maybe there is a viable alternative going into the future. Okay. Oh, I could make a whole video about this. I've actually made several videos about this, I think. Well, fiat currency is, how do you explain this? Well, the history of fiat currency is really messed up. But let's just talk about where we are now. First, I'm not about to do anything about the Federal Reserve, and neither are you. We're kind of stuck with it unless someone does something about it. So in terms of just dealing with what the money we have to deal with at the moment, obviously there are a few other things you can do other than deal with fiat currency directly, like you can use Bitcoin for stuff. The problem with Bitcoin is it's based on nothing, so its value is very subject to the whims of whoever and whatever, same as fiat currency. So it has a lot of, but it gets around a lot of them. But yeah, so a lot of the with fiat currency is that like the United States dollar is the world currency basically, and the United States buys their dollars from a private bank, the Federal Reserve, which is not federal. They just name it that way to make people think it has something to do with the government, but it's a private bank, which is insane. It's so insane to me. When I found that out, I just couldn't believe it, that a private bank is in charge of the United States currency, which is the most used currency in the world. Like, if you want to know who's running the world, there you go. Anyway, let's put the specifics of that all aside for the moment. The way you think about money, I think, is more important than where that money is coming from and what crazy people are controlling it and doing to it. I think the mistake people make today is that they value money over everything else. And this is strongly encouraged. Like when you hear about a hurricane on the news, they say how much damage has been done in millions of dollars. Oh, $47 million of damage from this hurricane. They don't talk about, like, how many homes got destroyed or how many people died. They might mention that stuff, but it always comes down to a dollar amount. They're always like, $400 million, $500 million. It's like $1 billion of damage. And, people rate each other based on their salary or how much money they have or how much their house costs. And like so many things that people think about have been boiled down to basically the dumbest way you can think about them, which is, how much does it cost in money dollars? How much does this cost in monies? And that's how valuable it is. Duh. But it doesn't make sense. And that kind of thinking has gotten us, like, this horrible food supply, for example. This horrible food supply, which is all about money, has nothing to do with nutrition or health. It's all about money. So, for instance, in North America, they grow corn. And they don't grow the most nutritious corn. They don't grow the corn with the most protein in it or anything like that. They grow the corn that they can grow the most of, because then they can make the most money off it. And the corn they grow is like not even edible. You have to like do all this crap to it to get it turned into corn syrup or corn oil to ethanol or whatever. The medical system is another example. It's completely run by money. All the motivations are financial. So doctors, people go to medical school to become doctors, and they get so deep into debt that they have to focus on money for the next however many decades to be able to pay off this quadrillion dollars in loans. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but like these huge loans, they have to focus so much on money, and they end up focusing on money more than the actual care, which is why there are so many treatments and so few cures. Because treatments make more money because people have to keep coming back. But if you cure someone, you lost your customer. So cures are not profitable. Treatments are profitable. Keep people permanently sick and just treat them endlessly. That's how you make the most money. And I could go on and on just giving examples of how screwed up things are because people are valuing things in dollars instead of actual results. For example, food. You should care about the nutrition of your food, not how much it costs or any of this stuff. And I really think people should put a lot more effort into growing their own food, because the food you're buying is mostly just garbage. Like the nutrition is so low in food today. They've used so much science to force food to grow in dead soil that there's just no nutrition in the soil to get into the food, And the most valuable things in life are not things you can buy. Your human relationships, that's such valuable stuff. And it's really hard to find a friend who values honesty and truth and loyalty over dollars. Like it's difficult for me to think of friends that I've known who would choose loyalty to me over a buck. You know, it's like friends of convenience. I've had tons of friends of convenience, but at any point, if it's more profitable to not be my friend, to betray me, to lie to me, almost all of the friends I've had in my life, who aren't really technically friends then, like almost all the people I've known in my life would choose to make the money rather than be a good friend. So yeah, the specifics of fiat currency, I think, are not as important as the way we think about how to value things in the world. Like, I think a lot more emphasis has to be put on not valuing money, but valuing like human relationships, health, like what you can pass on to the next generation. Like there's so many things that are so valuable that you can't buy them. You can't buy a good relationship. You can't buy a good connection with your child. Like, you have to do that. You can't buy health. You know, you can buy drugs that'll kind of like, you know, kind of fix up your health a little, but to really be healthy, you have to put the effort into that. You have to get up in the morning and go for a run. Like, no amount of dollars buying medicine is going to make you as healthy as someone who gets up and goes for a run every morning. If you wake up and just lay there and like, no, drink some coffee, take some pills, like, there's so many things in life that are more valuable than money. Money is a useful thing, but it's only as valuable as what you do with it. The actual money itself has no real value. Anyway, let's move on here. My screen's getting more fuzzy. Maybe I have to tap it or smack it against the wall or something. I guess I should just get a new one of these at some point. Oh my gosh, Tomaters just showed up. What's going on, man? Let's see. Greetings from Norway. Let's see. Where was I? Curious your thoughts on fiat currency, and maybe there's a viable alternative going into the future. Yeah, the viable alternative is basically do more things for yourself, rely on money less. That's the short answer to your question. Piano or keys is great for beginners. I started on guitar very hard. I played piano when I was younger. I really liked it until I was forced to take piano lessons, and then I did not like it anymore, which is super annoying. Yeah, I kind of would like to. Well, I did have like an electric piano thing for a while, but it got destroyed by someone. I'm not going to get into it. But yeah, I should get a new one now that I have my own house and can keep things safe. Been watching since Mass, New Hampshire, and the Dome. You mean Vermont? Have loved so many of your videos. So very proud of you. Oh, well, thanks, man. Advanced Nutritioning. This is so proud of you and all that you have accomplished on raw land to where you are now. Yeah, I still need to work on growing food more. I'm definitely growing more food than when I first moved here. But yeah, I want like yeah, I need to work more on growing food. I don't know. I guess if I keep just working on it kind of in the background, it does slowly improve over time. Jonathan says, sufficiently seaworthy is a very deep, dark rabbit hole. The sea is a dangerous mistress. Sufficiently seaworthy is like, obviously, if you are going into a storm, nothing is going to be seaworthy enough for that. But like sufficiently seaworthy to have a reasonable, experience at sea. Anyway, I'm sure it's subjective to some degree. I wouldn't even call it a big dark rabbit hole though. Okay, don't you already have a big sailboat and a houseboat? No, I don't have either of those. They are both gone. Warum cats made from wood. Okay, Jonathan, these Warum cats made from wood. I know which ones you're talking about because some guy here was talking them up and he gave me plans for them and I looked through it and I checked it out and I think those things are just disposable boats. Yeah, I'm not impressed by those. And I even know someone who made one and was so proud of their boat until it started falling apart like 2 or 3 years later. And it was just, I couldn't keep up with the maintenance. Yeah. Tow Maters, I can't believe you're here. I'm so excited. Been sick. I'm well now. Man, I'm glad you're doing better, Tow Maters. We've definitely missed you. And Mr. Landfill was in the hospital for 5 days. Almost didn't make it. No way. 3 pints low on blood. Mr. Landfill, what happened? Did you like angle grind your wrist? Oh no, that's my trick. Yeah, I still can't believe I did that. Where is it? Right there. Yeah, right there. Angle grinding my wrist. I still can't believe I survived that too. God, that was one of those dumb things where it was like just dumb luck that I didn't die, or at least have to rush to the hospital. Anyway, Tony says, brilliant, agree 100%, and just as disturbed by it. Oh, you're talking about the Federal Reserve probably? Yeah. Thank you, Zuzu, Tomater says. Yeah, I'm glad Mr. Landfill and Tomaters are out of the hospital and doing all right. It's good. Jack says, just finished a full day of swinging a pickaxe. Oh, that's great. And using a shovel to dig irrigation trenches for work. In the near future, I will have enough funds to go off grid. But for now, the grind continues. Dude, I've totally been there. I remember doing the grind. And when I was doing the grind, I had some options to make a lot of money doing some not so moral things. And I was like, no, I can't do it. So I ended up just working like 12-hour days, just grinding away on honest work and just spending as little money as possible. And yeah, saved up enough money to do all the stuff. So like, in all honesty, I almost still can't believe where I am and what I'm doing. Because like 20 years ago, I dreamed of like having my own island and like basically doing what I'm here, but I don't even know if I was dreaming as big as what I ended up doing, you know. And I'm on like 2 islands. I'm on like this little island, and I got a bridge to my other little island right there. And I own like 3 other ones, or 3, I don't know. Yeah, it's yeah, man. Just keep grinding away and save the money. And when you get ahead, try to like milk it, like really try to save up as much as you can reasonably save, and then just go for it 100%. Don't hold back. Don't give yourself a plan B, any safety nets or any ways out. Just totally go for it. I've known a lot of people who wanted to move off grid and start homesteading, and this is actually most of the people I know who've tried to do it. A few of them have succeeded, but most of the ones that I know who've done this particular method have failed, where they're working, they have no savings, they go out somewhere, find some piece of land in some rural place, buy it, finance it, and then, they'll spend like a couple weeks there, and then they got to go back to work for 6 months, and then come back out, spend a couple weeks, and then go back to work for 6 months. And the problem with that is they're not spending enough time in the place to actually do anything. So there's no point in having it at that point. And the traveling back and forth is eating half the money they're trying to use to pay off the place that they shouldn't have financed in the first place. Like the people I know who've had the most success moving off grid, and I'm not saying you can't do it that way. I'm sure there are people who've succeeded, but I would highly recommend just sucking it up and saving money. And then when you buy your land, just buy it. Don't finance it. Just, if you can't afford it, don't buy it, and just stay out of debt. And yeah, totally do it that way. Jack says, enjoy all the videos. Great inspiration. Well, thank you very much. Frode says, a friend of me in Belize, Christopher Nesbitt, is a great permaculture teacher. He knows how to grow food in your climate, and I think he does courses. I don't just need help with my climate. I've actually been dealing with some difficult soil. So the soil on my island here is like really dense clay, and I've been working on it to improve it, and it's definitely making a difference. So I'm getting somewhere. A lot more grows here now than did when I first got here. And then I have some other land, like some farmland on a nearby island. That's where I go to cut all the wood. You know, whenever I go with a chainsaw out into the jungle, that's this other piece of land. This is just a big chunk of land on one of the main islands here. That piece of land has much better soil. I've grown a lot more food there. Although I'm not farming anything there at the moment because the neighbor behind me has cows, and his cows just came through and just annihilated the whole area where I was growing food. So annoying. But after that, I was like, all right, I can't grow anything until I put up a fence. So at some point, I'm going to have to put up a fence over there, and then I can grow a lot more food over there. But in the meantime, I'm also just improving the soil and the conditions on this island so I can keep growing more and more. John says, love it, disposable boats. You are correct. Okay, I wasn't sure if I was going to be offending anyone, but yeah, those Warum boats, you put them together, and they're great for a little while. You can cross an ocean in one, but they're not made to last at all. I think pigeon pea, I've tried to grow pigeon peas, are good for the tropics, speaking of food and a healthy protein. Yeah, I planted 2 pigeon pea plants, and they got huge. Like one of my pigeon pea plants, which was right just on the other side of this wall outside. I mean, not right there, but just over there. It was taller than me and wider than me. It got huge. Never made a single pea. And then I have another pigeon pea plant that's like kind of right over there. It's not anywhere near as big. I'm not even sure if it's still alive now. It might be. But yeah, it's just, they haven't been growing any peas. I think it's the soil. Kobleta Prakuyaka, I don't know how to say it. It says hello. Hello, person whose name I totally mispronounced. And in my defense, my screen is all screwed up. I can't see the screen very well. I need to get a new one of these. Mr. Landfill says, bleeding ulcer. Oh, man, and a diet change that convinced me my stool being black was because of that and not blood. Oh, man. A bleeding ulcer, and then you didn't realize that it was that. Oh, God. Well, I'm glad you're back to healthy. Man, you got to take care of yourself. Greetings from Poland, Kobleta. Greetings from Panama. Jason Creech says, your running area is looking great. Keep up the great work. Oh, I love it, having a track. Someone asked me, what's the point of making a track? Why don't you just get a treadmill? And I'm just like, what? How can you not understand the difference between a treadmill and a track? Such a huge difference, like a massive difference in the experience. Like, for one thing, on a track, if I'm going around in a circle like this on a bank, it's like running in heavy gravity, which is cool. Another thing is like, 2 days ago, I woke up and, did my morning exercises. And while I'm doing my morning exercises, suddenly I hear this screaming of one of my daughters screaming. I don't remember exactly what she was screaming, but it was something to the effect of, you will never claim the Necronomicon! And she goes running up the stairs with another 3 kids chasing her, and they ended up running laps and laps and laps around the track. And I don't even know what game was going on, but there are often games. I mean, now like half the games they play involve like running around the track. And that's not going to happen with a treadmill. And they roller skate up there. Oh, having a track oh, it's so good. It's so like it would be amazing if it was just for me, just to run. But like having kids here, oh, it's like they have so much fun with that track. Oh, they showed me a game yesterday actually, which was pretty fun. So they'll stand at one side of the house with a basketball. You could do this with a soccer ball, but the soccer ball's not blown up right now. And they'll take the basketball and kick it, and it'll go all the way around the track and come back to them. And then the kid standing behind them or beside them kicks it back the other way. So they end up playing pass, kicking the ball all the way around the track until someone screws it up and it hits the wall or goes down the stairs, or they didn't quite hit it hard enough and it didn't make it. Yeah, the track is really, really awesome. And I've kind of been getting, when I first made it, I was a little bit hesitant, a little tentative running on it. But now I've run on it a lot. And I'll run like full speed on the bank. And I'm not really that, it still crosses my mind occasionally that my foot could go right through it, but I'm getting much more comfortable that it is actually just strong and I can run full speed on it. So yeah, the track is really awesome. Vasco Zuzu says, toilets that examine stool oh God, for abnormalities or health deficiencies will come in the near future, if not already available in Japan. I'm sure they're available in Japan. Nice, says Mr. Landfill. Kevin Palmer says, I remember that video. I want an island with the drawings. Yeah. So you're talking about the video when I don't know, was this like 20 years ago or whatever? I made a video like basically asking if anyone wants to get together and buy an island. And then, I had a little diorama, I guess, and some drawings and stuff of what I wanted this island to kind of be like. And I did actually get a group of people together, but kind of one by one, they just kind of fell off. And then I was the only one who ended up doing it. Let's see. Glad you made it, Mr. Landfill. I am also glad Mr. Landfill made it. Your wizard hat would be a great addition to live streams. All right, hold on. Where is it? It's right over here somewhere. Where's my wizard hat? Oh, no. Oh, come on. All right, I'm not sure where it is. If I... So I have two wizard hats. Like big wizard hats, like with the big point thing and the big, huge brim. And my kids wear them a lot, kind of, because they'll play games where one of them's a wizard and one of them's a swordsman, and they'll go on adventures and they'll have to run around the track, of course. But it's so hilarious when my 4-year-old puts on the big red wizard hat, because that's the biggest one. It's huge. And all I can see is this hat walking around the house. She looks like the Red Wizard from the first Final Fantasy video game. I guess in the first few they look the same. But yeah, just this little red wizard, and she'll wear like one of my shirts so it looks like a robe because it goes down to her feet. And then she's got like a staff and a thing, I don't know what. It's so hilarious. But anyway, the point is I don't know where my wizard hats are right now. They're probably upstairs on the track somewhere. But I'll see if I can remember to wear one next week. Jack says, thanks for the advice, man. That's the current plan. I live in Maine, so the geography of the land I buy will likely be very similar to your past place in Vermont. Well, just because you live in just because you live in Maine doesn't mean you have to buy something in Maine. I'm not saying you shouldn't. Maine is a great place, but yeah, if you're doing it, you could buy land anywhere. Yeah, when I was deciding where to buy land, I spent a whole bunch of time looking at different climates, like all over the world, like geographic climates, and also kind of like political, financial climates, things like that, like what the rules are. Like do not try to live off grid in England, for example. The Philippines, foreigners are not allowed to own land. In the United States, you're going to be paying land tax pretty much anywhere you go, and you're going to be subject to rules you might not want to deal with. Yeah, there's just all over the planet, and even just different states are going to have different rules and different climates and all this stuff. Yeah, I'm not saying you shouldn't do Maine, but yeah, like while you're in the position to, well, like when you're in the part where you haven't chosen anything yet, like open yourself to anything. You might find something you didn't even realize you'd really like. I hear chickens produce great fertilizer. Yes, I know. I kind of want to get chickens. Yeah, I guess it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like I should get chickens here, but then every day it's like I wake up, just as the sun's coming up, I do some morning exercises, I make breakfast and make some sourdough bread stuff and open a coconut, whatever, and then I do some digging, and then I do some other stuff, and then work on something else. Next thing I know, it's like dinner time, and then it's dark, and it's like, oh, let's go to sleep and get up and do some more stuff. So yeah, I could think about getting chickens for like the next 6 months and just be doing other things. Yeah, I don't know. I do want to get chickens though. I do have a couple raccoons on this island that I need to deal with before I get chickens, but that's not that hard to do. Biochar is amazing in tropical soils. Add up to 10% char to your compost material. I have been adding charcoal to the soil. Yes. Yeah, it seems to be. I can't really say what is helping the soil, but I've been adding charcoal that I pee on and is in compost and stuff. I've been adding that to the soil. I've also been mixing in lots of just composty things and leaves, and I actually have like compost, rot piles that I mix into the soil. And I've also been doing a lot of digging, and whenever I move the soil, I'll try to like leave areas where it's just kind of fluffed up and not packed down, and plant things in there. I plant a lot of yucca in that, so the yucca ends up growing big roots under the clay. And with a lot of them, I just leave them. So it grows the yucca and rots, and then that it basically composts under the ground. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of things. I've definitely been doing charcoal. For growing food on the island you live on, raised beds. You know what? I made 3 raised beds. Nothing grows in them. More stuff grows right beside the raised beds. I don't know what I did, but I'm gonna have to work on that some more. Although I find that I've been having so much more success not even doing raised beds, just working on the soil. But yeah, maybe I'll try some raised beds again at some point. Raised beds, cover crops, yes. I've been doing lots of cover crop stuff, mulch, chicken manure, growing native crops, and time will make you a success. Yeah, so there's this big area out in front of my house where I've just been growing tons of yucca. And then I haven't been weeding it or anything, so just kind of letting whatever will grow there grow. And then every once in a while I'll hack through with a machete and kind of chew everything up and keep planting more yucca. And yeah, it seems to be really improving the soil. But I've not really made food production like a high priority yet. It's still kind of a background thing that kind of always is going on low level, What are some of the soil improvement strategies you're employing? I think I just said that. Advanced Nutrition says, loved seeing your kids grow up, and congrats on finishing your running track. It's so beautiful and functional. Oh yes, so good. I still think it's funny that the guy was like, why don't you just get a treadmill? Man, treadmill compared to a running track, no comparison. Plus, I would just break a treadmill. You will always be remembered at your house as the engineering wizard, island inventor, the build islands. Your concrete barrier walls on your first island was a monumental task. That was a crazy, yeah, that was a lot of work. That was crazy. The wall's still totally working too. And it wasn't complicated. You know, I made sure the bottom of the wall, the seawall, had a wide part to sit in the muck and not sink. And then the wall is just sloped in against the land. So it doesn't really have to do much. Yeah, it's still there and working great. Then blew my mind on what a person could accomplish. And then the solar dozer was born. Your family enjoys, or my family enjoys watching your videos. Well, thank you, man. I'm glad you guys like watching the videos. I will do my best to keep making something interesting. David Rubino, what's going on, man? Hello, all. I'm a bit late. Please carry on. We will do our best carrying on. Vasco Zuzu says maybe you could put out an ad looking for help with improving soil, gardening, and chickens, but post it to a dating site. Dude, I've tried that. Oh, yeah. I mean, let me go get a light. Hold on. I didn't know I was going to be on this long, so I didn't grab a light. Let me just grab a light. Yeah, so I've been kind of trying to meet someone. I mean, I haven't really been putting that much effort into it lately because, you know, I was putting more effort into it for a while and meeting people, and you know, I'd meet some woman and then pretty quickly I'd just be like, yeah, this person is no good. And that would happen over and over. And so, I mean, but I still put a little bit of effort here in now and then. But I think I'm going to have to meet someone in person. I don't know, though, but it's like I meet so many fewer people in person than I do online. So I don't know. But like yesterday, I was talking with this girl who I'd been talking to for a couple days. I mean, not talking to her constantly a couple days. I mean, we only send a couple messages back and forth. But then she sends me this picture of her not entirely clothed. Like, you know, things were basically covered up, but it was like a little bit, you know, like a little, it's not a picture you'd show your dad, you know. So I just responded, so do you have an OnlyFans or something? And she's like, yeah, you should sign up. And I'm just like, yeah, that's not what I'm interested in. So, you know, it's just like trying to meet someone who's not being destroyed by modern culture. Let's say that is kind of hard. But, you know, I'm not giving up on that or anything. You know, chicks dig the beard too. Actually, they do kind of actually like the beard. I wasn't really expecting that, but when I go to town, a lot more girls talk to me now that I have this big beard than did before. Maybe I have a better attitude now or something too, but I don't know. I wasn't expecting that. Anyway, what's going on? Yes, I should put an ad on a dating site looking for help with improving soil, gardening, and chickens. You know what? I'm going to do that exactly. Oh, Jaimie, fermenting foods is great for your health and a way to preserve and just needs salt. Well, I have a sourdough thing, Bubbles. I call my sourdough starter Bubbles because, you know, it makes bubbles. And I make sourdough a lot, not every day. I didn't make any today because this is my sourdough bread from yesterday. So I didn't need to make one today. But yeah, I make a lot of sourdough coconut bread. It's like my favorite way to eat coconuts. Although I'm not fermenting anything beyond the sourdough at this moment. But maybe I will at some point. Would it be hard to get some topsoil over there? Well, I'm building the topsoil. So like I could go get some topsoil, I guess, or I can just, encourage it to naturally grow, which takes longer, but is less labor intensive and financially costly. So that's what I'm going with. I'm just kind of like encouraging topsoil to build itself here, which is working. It's been working. So I'm just gonna keep doing that. Like when I first got here, banana trees did not grow, but now I've got like right outside my window here, I've got this ever-growing clump of banana trees that's been growing a lot of bananas. So that's a huge improvement, and I'm gonna try to keep that clump kind of like migrating across the whole island, just go all over the place. Let's see. Wait, where are we? Will be topsoil, right? When's the next local triathlon? I don't know, but I am ready, man. I am totally ready for a triathlon. I've been doing all this running. I wouldn't say that I'm in like the running shape I used to be, but I'm definitely getting closer. Yeah, when I when I used to run, when I used to train for track and field and do distance races and everything, I always ran on what my son calls tippy toes, on the balls of my feet. I would never run on my heels. So even if I was doing like a 50-mile run, which I didn't do that often, but I would occasionally do like an ultra long run, I would still just be bouncing on the balls of my feet the whole time. And at the time, I thought that was, a little bit difficult. You got to concentrate. I had to work up to it a little bit, but it wasn't that big a deal. I could do it. And then once I got used to doing it, I just always ran that way. But man, after moving to the islands and not running that much for a few years, and then I built the running track. Well, like the running track in my house, but also the running trail. I guess I should call them the trail and the track. So I built like a quarter-mile running trail around my island, and then the running track. And so I've been running a lot more. Holy crap, it is hard to stay up on your toes running. Man, I've really had to work hard to get my calves strong enough that I can run a good like 400 meters several times in a row, bouncing on my the balls of my feet, not on my heels, because man, my calves get so tired. But yeah, I'm getting that strength back now. But anyway, yeah, I would love to do another local triathlon. That'd be great. No good name says you rock. Thanks, man. Riker 6. Wait, does that say? Sorry, my screen is all fritzing out here. Oh, Richter 666 says, make your own. That way you have the systems in place for future use rather than outsourcing, or do both. So this is talking about the soil, I think. Yeah, I think I want to build my own soil for multiple reasons. Yeah, like one reason is I want to know how to do it, and I want, like, even if I brought some soil in, if I haven't learned how to encourage more soil to grow, I might just end up depleting that soil and have to bring in more and more and more. But if I keep trying to grow the soil here and I figure out how to grow better topsoil, as it seems to be working, then that just becomes my standard practice. And then it's just a long-term way of doing it, because it solves the problem indefinitely if I can build the soil on site. Just composting, mixing in charcoal, and doing all the things that I've heard about doing. All right, let's see. All right, it looks like I'm at the end of comments here, and I've been going on for a while. I'm over an hour now, so I think I'm gonna get off here in a minute. If anyone has any last-minute comments or questions, feel free to stick them down here. Vasco's user said, good luck in the next triathlon. Not that you need luck to win, but meeting a nice lady. Well, that would be cool. Yeah, I mean, I would throw the triathlon to meet a nice lady. I was actually thinking about that I don't know, a week or so ago, like if another triathlon comes up, I won the last one. I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, all right, let me just start going. And, within 10 minutes, within probably like the first 5 or 10 minutes, I just started getting that competitive feeling. And I was like, all right, that's it. I'm going. Brr! And just took the lead, and that was it. Had the lead for the rest of it. But the other week, I was thinking about it. When the next triathlon comes, if there is another one, I don't want to get so competitive that I end up like crashing on a bicycle or something, Like I have to make sure I'm safe because it's not that important that I win, even though there's some part of me that has to win. It's like, dude, relax. Like the bike part is kind of dangerous. There are cars, we're driving on a road for part of it. There's like potholes. If I'm going beside someone and there's a big pothole that might wipe me out, just slow down and go behind them, man. It's not a big deal. Of course, the running part, I'll just go all out because you don't have to worry about wiping out running as much. Okay, Mr. Landfill says, be safe, everyone. Excellent. You be safe too, Mr. Landfill. If you start getting that black poop again, you take care of business. And I hope your change in diet has been effective in helping with ulcers and stuff. Vasco says, see you next time. Thanks for talking with us. Thank you for coming, man. You guys make this fun. Richter 666 says, man, just wanted to say I followed you when I was a kid when you were making your game and spider thing. You're such an interesting dude, and part of my core memories from childhood watching your videos. Oh, that's cool, man. Totally awesome to hear. I'm glad the videos are having a positive influence. That's super cool, man. Nature Validate says, decomposing organic material makes more soil, so just keep growing fast-growing vegetation and chop it down. The faster it grows, and if it can regrow from chopping, the better. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I've been doing in this whole front yard area. Just like growing a lot of stuff, a lot of rooty stuff, like yucca is like a potato-y kind of thing, and just chopping it down every once in a while, and it all grows back, and it's all mulching in there, and there's some trees dropping leaves and stuff. So yeah, it's definitely improving. All right, I'm gonna get out of here, and I hope everyone has an excellent evening or morning or midnight or whatever you got wherever you are. And here's the X button. Wait, let me just check that I didn't miss any comments. Very good. Okay, catch you guys.